Good morning and welcome to Thursday morning, the 28th of October today. Hope you are doing well so far in your week and continuing to look to the Lord for your help and for your transformation each day. Today we go into a chapter in this section called Anger. From Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 and 22, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, "You shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you," obviously Jesus speaking, "but I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, 'Raka,' is answerable to the court, and anyone who says, 'You fool,' will be in danger of the fire of hell." Our thought bringer today is Dallas Willard. According to Jesus, contempt is a greater evil than anger, and so is deserving of greater condemnation. Unlike innocent anger, at least it is a kind of studied degradation of another, and it is also more pervasive in life than anger. It is never justifiable or good. Therefore, Jesus tells us, whoever says "Raka" to his brother shall stand condemned before the Sanhedrin, the highest court of the land. The Aramaic term "Raka" was current in Jesus' day to express contempt for someone and to mark out him or her as contemptible. It may have originated from the sound one makes to collect spittle from the throat in order to spit. In anger, I want to hurt you. In contempt, I don't care whether you are hurt or not. Or at least so I say. You are not worth consideration one way or the other. We can be angry at someone without denying their worth. But contempt makes it easier for us to hurt them or to see them further degraded. Today, of course, we would not say "Raka," but we might call someone a twit or a twerp, maybe a dork or a nerd. I think maybe we say, I'm not sure when that was written, but I'm thinking we use harsher words these days, like idiot, stupid. These are the gentler, oh, well, he does say that now. I jumped to conclusions. These are the gentler words in our vocabulary of contempt. When it really gets going, it becomes filthy. Our verbal arsenal is loaded with contemptuous terms, some with sexual, racial, or cultural bearings, others just personally degrading. They should never be uttered. The intent and the effect of contempt is always to exclude someone, to push them away, leave them out and isolated. This explains why filth is so constantly invoked in expressing contempt, and why contempt is so cruel, so serious. It breaks the social bond more severely than anger, yet it may also be done with such refinement. How often we see it in the schoolyard, at a party, even in the home or church sanctuary. Someone is being put down or, oh, so precisely omitted, left out. It is a constant in most of human life. In the course of normal life, one is rarely in a situation where contempt is not at least hovering in the wings, and everyone lives in terror of it. It is never quite beyond the margins of our consciousness. Jesus' comment here is that anyone who says "Raka" to an associate is rightly to be singled out by the highest authorities in the land, the council, or Sanhedrin, for appropriate and obviously serious penalties. Contemptuous actions and attitudes are a knife in the heart that permanently harms and mutilates people's souls. That they are so common does not ease their destructiveness. In most professional circles and quote-unquote high society, where one might hope for the highest moral sensitivity, contempt is a fine art. Practicing it is even a part of being in good standing. Not to know whom and how to despise is one of the surest of signs that you are not quite with it and are yourself mildly contemptible. I'm thinking of school, grade school, middle school, high school. Those who learn to judge and those who learn to be the mean kids, right? In his marvelous little talk, The Inner Ring, C.S. Lewis comments that, quote, in all men's lives at certain periods and in many men's lives at all periods between infancy and extreme old age, one of the most dominant elements is the desire to be inside the local ring and the terror of being left outside, unquote. To belong is a vital need based in the spiritual nature of the human being. Contempt spits on this pathetically deep need. And like anger, contempt does not have to be acted out in special ways to be evil. It is inherently poisonous. Just by being what it is withering to the human soul. But when expressed in the contemptuous phrase, in its thousands of forms, or in the equally powerful gesture or look, it stabs the soul to its core and deflates its powers of life. It can hurt so badly and destroy so deeply that murder would almost be a mercy. Its power is also seen in the intensity of the resentment and rage it always evokes. But Jesus notes one stage further in the progression of internal evil that may be there without murder occurring. And whoever says, you fool, shall merit condemnation to the fires of Gehenna, unquote. You fool, said with that characteristic combination of freezing contempt and withering anger that Jesus had in mind, is a deeper harm than either anger or contempt alone. The fool in biblical language is a combination of stupid perversity and rebellion against God and all that sensible people stand for. He is willfully perverted, rebellious, knowingly wicked to his own harm. To brand someone fool in this biblical sense was a violation of the souls so devastating, of such great harm, that as Jesus saw, it would justify consigning the offender to the smoldering garbage dump of human existence, Gehenna. It combines all that is evil in anger as well as in contempt. It is not possible for people with such attitudes toward others to live in the movements of God's kingdom, for they are totally out of harmony with it. I don't just think of school growing up, in my growing up years, and how easy it was to want to be part of that in-group, that you were willing to treat anyone on the fringes in any mean way that came to mind. And that's to be repented of. Or as David said, Lord, please do not regard the sins of my youth. In our youth, we're just naturally stupid. And we feel the pressure of peer pressure. But it's also alive and well, isn't it, in our political process today, on the internet, on things like Facebook and other places. It just is way too easy to call someone a fool because they think differently. Too easy to put them down, push them out to the fringes, disregard them from our group who's always right. Let's be careful of how we treat others. We need to understand the severity that these actions, with which these actions are viewed by our Lord. Treat others as you would want to be treated is a cure for this, I think. Blessings to you today.